On the ninth Sunday of the season, we call to mind the Values and Covenants section of the proposed revision of the Unitarian Universalist bylaws, which says, "Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love."
Please rise in body or spirit for the first hymn, which is number 358, Rank by Rank, in your gray hymnal. Bruce is going to play it through once for us. Rank by rank again we stand, from the four winds gathered hither, loud the hallowed walls demand, whence we come and how we whither, from the stillness breaking clear, echoes wake to warm or cheer, higher truth from saint and seer, call to us assembled here. Ours the year's memorial store, honored days and names we reckon, days of comrades gone before, lives that speak and deeds that beckon, from the dreaming of the night to the labors of the day, shines their everlasting light, guiding us to upon our way. Though the path be hard and long, still we strive in expectation. Join we now their ageless song, one with them in aspiration, one in name, in honor, one. Guard we well the crown they won, what they dreamed be ours to do. Hopes their hopes and seal them true.
Good morning. I am Heidi Levine, she, her, hers, and in place of Elliot, I am serving as your celebrant this morning.
I'm the Reverend Meredith Garmon in place of the Reverend Meredith Garmon. Zir or he, him.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. Our building is located on land that has been home to various peoples in the last 12,000 years, including at the time of the European encroachment, the Iowa, Sauk, and Meskwaki. These lands were also once home to the 10-foot-long Jefferson's ground sloth, extinct for 13,000 years. As we entered this space, the ghosts of humans and other animals past are among us. Let us recommit to understanding the history of the land this church occupies and to owning our part in the work of education, reparation, and healing for all species.
Our purpose is to associate ourselves together for the study and practice of morality and religion, interpreted by the growing thought and noblest lives of humanity, hoping thereby to prove helpful one to another and to promote truth, righteousness, and love in the world.
This bond of union is reiterated in our mission to grow ethically and spiritually, serve justly, and love radically.
It's a blessing you were born. It matters what you do. Your experience of the divine is true, and you don't have to go it alone.
Today is the 9th Sunday of winter. The moon is waxing gibbous, and the snow moon will be full on Friday night.
On the Christian liturgical calendar, today is the first Sunday of Lent. Lent will last 6 more weeks and end at Easter.
A special welcome to our visitors. If you are here with children, feel free to keep them seated with you or take advantage of our play area in the back. Newcomers are invited to a UU Curiosity conversation the first Sunday of each month. The next one is in 2 weeks on March 3rd, immediately after the service. And finally, please do make sure that your phones are silent and your mics muted throughout the service.
Our connection circles are small groups that gather to explore the monthly theme and build relationship. It's a key way that we live out our mission to grow ethically and spiritually. So if you're not in one, please sign up and become a part of a group. Our theme for the month of February is equity. Issues of connecting are available, should be available just outside the door. We begin with the lighting of our chalice.
Please say with me our chalice lighting words, which can be found in your order of service. Today, we come together as a community of faith, joyful and free, drawing strength from each other to spark the flame of truth and ignite the fire of commitment to social justice, equity, and peace. Our responsive reading is number 549 in the back of the gray hymnal. The side on my left will begin.
And the side on my right will respond with the indented italicized words.
Blessed be you, harsh matter, barren soil, and stubborn rock, you who yield only to violence.
You who force us to work if we would eat.
Blessed be you, perilous matter, violent sea, untamable passion.
You who, unless we fetter, you will devour us.
Blessed be you, mighty, irresistible march of evolution, reality ever newborn.
You who, by constant shattering our mental categories, force us to go ever further and further in our pursuit of the truth.
Blessed be you, universal matter, unmeasurable time, boundless ether, triple abyss of stars and atoms and generations.
You who, by overflowing and dissolving our narrow standards of measurement, reveal to us the dimensions of God.
The words for our sung invocation can be found in your order of service.
Open my heart to all that life brings. Let me be part of the love that's given.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Laura Kim Joyner, and I am a community minister of this congregation, and my pronouns are she and her. And today, to help us tell the story, is Pedro the rabbit. And what are your pronouns? He, him? Okay, very good. Once upon a time, there was a family of rabbits that lived on the edge of Farmer Hernando's cornfield. They lived in a burrow, and it was a growing family. And one day, the oldest, for the very first time in her life, stuck her nose out of the burrow, looked all around, and wind came up and dust and hit her nose, and she sneezed. Phew! And what do you think the parents said to her when she sneezed? Bless you. Well, they could have said salud because they were bilingual bunnies. So the parents who were nearby eating clover said, bless you, like you said. And the bunnies said, well, what does that mean? I've never heard that before. And the parents said, it means we love you and we want you to be safe. Well, all of the bunnies thought this, the youngsters thought this was such a good idea, they made a game of it. So anytime someone sneezed, achoo, they said, or got stung by a bee, or were lost and were found, they said, it was such a game to them, but they also felt loved and like they belonged. One day, Farmer Hernandez was out plowing the corn stalks in his field, and the ground began to shake, and there was a loud noise as the tractor got closer and closer to the bunny burrow, and the bunnies hunkered down because their parents had told them, be quiet, don't ever leave the burrow. But the tractor got so close and was such a loud noise, the bunnies had to spring out of their burrow, and they zigged and zagged like bunnies do, and then they tried to get silent and hide. And the oldest bunny found a place to hide And she was quiet and still, but then she looked up at Father Hernandez's face, and something was wrong. He looked like he was sad or had been hurt, and she couldn't help herself. She knew she shouldn't do it, but she said, "Bless you." Now, I don't know if Farmer Hernandez heard that "bless you." I mean, it's a bunny voice and a very loud tractor, but a good "bless you" can carry an awful long way. So Farmer Hernandez got this puzzled look on his face. He stopped the tractor. He got out of the tractor and he looked all around to who might have been talking to him. And then he spied the young bunny. He wanted to keep her safe, so he took his hat and threw it on top of her quickly and gathered her up and held her close to his heart and snuggled his face into her soft bunny fur. And then he began to cry. He had not touched another living creature since his wife was alive. Since she had died, he had not talked to anyone. No one had come to visit. No one had held him, and he had held no one until this bunny. After a while, Farmer Hernandez thought, well, if there's one bunny, there's going to be more. So he went around the field picking up all the baby bunnies until he had a hatful of bunnies, and he looked around for the burrow to put them back into their burrow. And there he watched over them until Mother and Father Rabbit could come back, because they had been out eating. And as he watched them, in their floppy ears and their noses twitching and their little soft bunny whispers of bless you, he began to feel a little less sad, maybe even happy. Along shortly came Mother and Father Rabbit, and he knew it was time to go. But before he left, he looked down at the family of bunnies and he said,
"Thank you for blessing my life."
And as he turned to go, the family responded,
Bless you.
So we too are like bless you bunnies. By showing up, by remembering people, by caring for people, maybe smiling and saying thank you, we help them know that they are loved and that they belong, which is what you do by coming here on Sunday mornings. Bless the children and the youth for being here today, and bless all of them who support them. And we'll now sing them out with the children's benediction and the order of service.
Go in joy, go in peace to meet the day. With open hearts embrace life's wonder. We will guide you, we will love you on your way.
Good morning. My name is Ron Heidemann. My pronouns are he, him, and his. We are a UU Green Sanctuary congregation. All our past efforts through Energy and Justice for All led us to Green Sanctuary certification in 2015, and it was a lot of work. We have a new name, Green Sanctuary. Our current activities include developing a mini forest in West Des Moines and education sessions with Shelley Buffalo of the Meskwaki Settlement regarding support we can provide to the indigenous peoples in Iowa. The UU Green Sanctuary program has been reborn for 2030, and we want First Unitarian of Des Moines to assist. In order to participate, congregations must complete projects within 3 domains: mitigation, adaptation and resilience, and justice. Justice activities are an essential component of the new Green Sanctuary process. This is more than the 6 members of our team can accomplish. We know that First Unitarian members love Mother Earth and seek ways to put our 7th principle into action. This is your chance. Following the service, check out our table in the gathering area. Also, you'll see a Green Sanctuary assessment coming soon by email. Please complete and return it at your earliest opportunity. Let us know if you will help us accomplish this goal. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Sutton, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a member of the stewardship team. I serve with Heidi Levine, Chelsea Hayes, Sally Buckholt, and Adrian Stamper, chair. I'm here to share some very exciting news that maybe some of you have heard about in the mail recently. The theme of this year's stewardship campaign is Igniting the Fire of Commitment. Igniting the fire of commitment to what is important to ourselves, our community, and our work in the wider world. We continue to be a passionate voice and agent for social justice in the greater Des Moines Metro, as we are in the midst of discerning what shape our ministries will take in the coming years. Your commitment to our community in all the ways you give, from time to effort to money, is gratefully celebrated. It is precisely why we are all here today and how we'll endure as a beacon of hope and light in the world. To celebrate and help spark that fire, we're inviting you to an all-church dinner on Saturday, March 2nd, 5 to 7 p.m. at church. We hope you'll be able to join us for an evening of a wonderful dinner and a few inspiring words. RSVP and request for childcare by emailing us at stewardship@ucdsm.org. Again, that's Saturday, March 2nd from 5 to 7, and email us to rsvp@stewardship@ucdsm.org. As we move into the 2024 stewardship campaign, we're also thinking about how our generosity provides the fuel for that bright future. The success of this campaign enables us to build a budget which supports the mission, which are core, or the programs which are core to our mission, allows us to provide engaging religious education to our members across the lifespan, addresses the ongoing physical and infrastructure needs of our church, and enables us to attract and retain talented church staff. The last part is particularly important at this time of leadership transition, demonstrating that we are a thriving, engaged, and generous community. To help members and friends answer the question, how much should I give? We are drawing on the UUA's Fair Share Giving Guide. The Fair Share Giving Guide was created by the UUA and is used by many churches as a way to help members consider the giving level which best takes into account their financial situations and the place which the church holds in their life. Fair Share Giving asks you to not only consider your household's level of giving, but also the importance of church to your home and your life. We have sent all members a postcard and letter with more information, including detailed information about the Fair Share Giving Guide. Some of you may already received it. I've received some RSVPs from you all, so thank you very much. Igniting the Fire of Commitment asks each of us to add what we can to the collective flame. And yes, we will have a literal flaming chalice on display to visualize pledges as we collect them. Special thanks to Chelsea Hayes for organizing that. We hope you are inspired to ignite your annual pledge and commit yourself to doing your part to sustain our beloved community. Thank you.
My name is Barb Glass. I'm a pastoral care associate. We are a community of memory and hope, a community of hands and hearts, a community for sharing laughter and tears, and bearing witness to one another as we journey through sorrows and joys. Sometimes we do this in group gatherings, and sometimes you just need one other person to hear and to hold with you whatever you might be going through. That's what your pastoral care team is for. So if it sounds like something you could use, please speak to me or to another member of the pastoral care team, or email pastoralcareteam@uscdsm.org. Today, we want you to know that we mourn the loss of Jim Bush, who died at 5:20 this morning. Amanda Cruz had surgery last Monday, and surgery went well, and recovery is going smoothly. We send healing wishes her way. Former Unitarian member Judy Burgett has been in cancer care for several weeks. She will be returning to her home in Sweetwater, Tennessee for hospice care beginning the week of February 18th, and she welcomes contact. I will have cards out at the caring ministry table, and we'll be sort of nagging all of you to sign them today. You'll feel my tap on your shoulder. Those cards really are important. They mean a lot to people. Let us now share together the names of anyone we know who could use some special care or attention. You may call the name out loud or type it into the chat. As we share these names, may the love of this community hold them. Jim, Mike. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we not look away when we are needed. May the grieving be comforted, the weary find rest, the broken places be healed, and joy and laughter be abundant. We light 3 candles. One for the joys and sorrows shared aloud, one for those shared in writing, and one for those held silently among us.
Join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer. Dear Spirit of life and love, may we remember that we do not deserve our blessings. This is hard for us to accept. For as the great German sociologist Max Weber observed, the fortunate person is seldom satisfied with the fact of being fortunate. Beyond this, he needs to know that he has a right to his good fortune. He wants to be convinced he deserves it, and above all, that he deserves it in comparison with others. And he wishes to be allowed the belief that the less fortunate also merely experience their due. Good fortune wants to be legitimate fortune. Dear Spirit of life and love, help us resist this delusion. May we keep in our consciousness that grace is not and cannot be earned or deserved. It can only be put to use serving others. So let our hearts take in all the world's pain and grief, anguish. A State Department report on human trafficking this month said that Gabon, Iraq, Lebanon, and El Salvador continue to restrict the rights of imprisoned trafficking victims. Let our hearts open to receive that awful suffering. A United Nations report relates that Gazan families in Palestine are eating animal feed to survive. 93% of the population of over 2 million faces crisis levels of hunger. Let our hearts open to receive that suffering. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees reports that 1 year after devastating earthquakes struck Syria and Turkey, nearly 1/3 million Syrians are still suffering from lack of shelter and other basic needs. Let our hearts open to receive the suffering. And mindful of this world of hurt, let us bring compassion to our every moment. Let us be voices of justice and peace in everything we do. Let us confront what is cruel. Let us heal what is broken. And let us delight in what is good. For only this use of our blessings is worthy of the grace that bestows them. So for all that has been said, and for all that we are carrying else in our hearts today, we observe a minute of silence. Blessed be. Amen.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
In the spring of 2008, I was at a crossroads in my career, thinking deeply about what I felt called to do with my life. I knew that I was no longer feeling the same enthusiasm for my work as a campus psychologist and director of health and counseling at a mid-sized college, and had been vying for positions as a dean of students or vice president of student affairs. That spring, I had two experiences which felt intensely meaningful to me. One was going back to my undergraduate campus to assist with the university's reopening after the Valentine's Day mass shooting on our campus. The other was traveling over spring break with a group from the campus I was currently serving to participate in the ongoing Katrina recovery in our partner community of Biloxi. Two very different situations and work, but what linked them for me was that each called on me to be given over in service to others. I was in charge of nothing, simply doing what I could to be most useful to the members of the community. I felt fulfilled in a way that touched my heart and my soul. As I continued to wrestle with my career and life path, I made the decision to enter into work with a spiritual director. I knew that I needed to process with someone what I was thinking and feeling, and that I wanted that to be with someone more focused on helping me understand my soul than my mind. I found myself entering a relationship with one of the nuns in a local Catholic spiritual center. She was insightful, warm, and genuine, and the perfect companion for helping me explore what meaning I might still find in my work in higher education. Work I passionately believe has the potential to change people's lives, and my desire to do work which deeply reflects my values as a Unitarian Universalist. Through this relationship, I was able to think more deeply about what ethically grounded work as an administrator could be, understanding that my desires were not in conflict with each other. A gift she gave me was to break down the etymology of the word administer, which shares the same root as minister, serving others. So where in this story is the blessing? During my final session with her, this gentle sister asked if she could wash and bless my hands. Not a ritual in which I had ever participated before, and I was not certain what prayer she would share. But I recognized this as another gift she was offering, and I gratefully accepted. Her blessing was moving and touched me more deeply than I would have guessed. In her words and gesture, I was reconnected with the work I was doing as a calling to serve. I carried back into the world of my work the understanding that I was continuing on my servant path, living out my heart's desire to help heal the world. 16 years later, and in the midst of preparing for the next chapter in my life, I continue to carry and strive to make manifest her blessing, to see the ministry in all I do. We come now to the offering. Our Faith in Action partners, our free store, which helps provide household items to families recovering from domestic violence and other trauma, and the Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund, which supports trans and gender diverse Iowans as they access gender affirming care. The living tradition we share draws on direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder that moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. Our religion reflects and informs our ethics and values. Our religion also reflects and reinforces the bonds that hold us together as a community. And something more. Together, we learn transcending mystery and wonder, how to directly experience it for ourselves, and how to open ourselves to forces of life. Together, we deepen these experiences and integrate them into our lives. So let there be an offering, for gratitude and generosity are both cause and result of our spiritual growth, and it falls now to us to renew our spiritual home.
A guy gets a Lamborghini and he goes to a Catholic priest and he says, "Could you say a blessing for my Lamborghini?" The priest says, "I guess so. What's a Lamborghini?" The guy says, "Never mind." He goes to a Methodist minister who says, "Could you say a blessing for my Lamborghini?" The Methodist clergy says, "I suppose so, but what is a Lamborghini?" The guy says, "Never mind." He goes to a Unitarian minister. "Could you say a blessing for my Lamborghini?" The Unitarian minister says, "I don't know. What's a blessing?" It's an old joke. Certainly, we do know what a blessing is, and particularly our clergy are prepared to say blessings. But the joke pokes fun at us for our comparative theological illiteracy, and maybe there is something to that. We can sometimes be so proud of our rejection of supernatural claptrap that we neglect helpful resources. And indeed, where religious claims are seen as contending with scientific conclusions, I'm siding with science every time. But I don't think theology properly understood does contend with science. Theology is a kind of poetry. This being human calls us to appreciate both science and poetry, and to understand that if the poet seems to describe, say, light in a way that contradicts light as that which, when squared and multiplied by mass, is equal to energy, there's not a real contradiction. They're just using language for different purposes. If the poet speaks of defying gravity, and the scientist tells us that actually gravity can never be defied, we understand that they're engaged in using words for different purposes, and that being human means sharing in both scientific and poetic purposes. Science is literal-minded and mathematical, and its purpose is to predict what the world will do, while poetry, including theology, opens up to us creative possibilities for meaning-making, less for predicting the world, and more for befriending it. Once you recognize that a given utterance is poetry, including the prose poetry that is theology, then you can see it not as supernatural claptrap, but it's a metaphor. Go with it. Unitarians have been rejecting traditional Protestant claims since our inception, starting with the Trinity and moving eventually to theism itself and everything that went with it. And for much of that time, we have also been at work developing ways to reclaim those concepts. So with that in mind, today let's see how we can understand blessing. What does it mean for something to be a blessing? What are we doing when we bless something? People sometimes ask God to bless something. We bless each other, we bless food, we bless objects, buildings, boats, Lamborghinis. We count our blessings and we count on our blessings. I think it helps in understanding this conceptual resource for living in this world to think of blessing as being about place. It's about being situated, being located, being in the context that fits. Thus, blessing is about belonging, being where you belong. In the story, the bunny's parents said, "It means we love you and we wish for you always to be safe." They were evoking the feeling of belonging. Mary Oliver's poem Wild Geese concludes with the lines, "Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things." Blessing is all about knowing and affirming our place in the family of things. By announcing our place, those wild geese are giving us their harsh and exciting blessing. Divergent faith traditions suggest a common idea in blessing of interconnectedness, of partaking in the significance of a larger whole through relationships of meaning and care. When I was serving as a hospital chaplain and was sometimes assigned to intensive care patients who were unconscious and unresponsive, I would put my hand on a shoulder and say a minute or two worth of words of blessing. And maybe they could hear them. I don't know. Maybe at some unconscious level, some of the patients stepped toward realization of their place, of their belongingness within the vast web of relationship. I know that through those experiences, I stepped toward such a realization. I had a very strong sense of being in place, right there, and through right there to everywhere else also. And if we are as interconnected as it felt at that moment, then anyone's realization of that connection is everyone's. Blessing affirms situatedness within a relationship of worth. To bless is to affirm the place of ourselves and something or someone else within the order of things. In the Jewish tradition, the Talmud teaches saying 100 blessings a day over any little thing, a piece of fruit, a cup of tea, a sandwich. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our God, source of life, who creates the fruit of the tree, or by whose word all comes into being, or who brings forth bread from the earth. In this context, to bless an item is to say that God is blessed, and to acknowledge the source from which the item comes. So the sense in which we say some object is a blessing, meaning that it's a good thing, nice to have, is derivative from a practice of asserting that God is blessed. The object or event is a gift we've received, for which acknowledgement of an ultimate source is appropriate. And in that acknowledgement, blessedness belongs to the source itself. Saying an object is blessed or a blessing is shorthand for saying it comes from a blessed, that is, divine or ultimate source. The Talmud goes on to teach that whoever has enjoyment of something from this world without saying a blessing, it is as if she or he had improper enjoyment of the thing, as if she or he has robbed the Holy One and the community. Robbed. Received without blessing, without acknowledging source, is like stealing, robbing from the Holy One and the community. That's what the Talmud says. There is so much that is granted, and we take it. And if we take it and it is granted, how do we not take it for granted? It's a simple matter to pause and acknowledge the source of the food that you're going to eat, of the house that shelters you, of the friendships that soothe and enrich, of the great green earth, clear air, and quenching water. There's a Roy Zimmerman song with the lyrics, everybody loves, everybody hurts, everybody has a touch of Weltschmerz. Everybody laughs, everybody sneezes, everybody bright and everybody breezes. Everybody is everybody else. Indeed, Roy, and everything is everything else. Acknowledging the source means recognizing that the thing comes from, is produced by all of reality. It means seeing the thing in the light of its place, its belonging in the web of interconnection. In the Talmud, the broader whole is recognized by saying Yahweh is blessed. But whether you say Yahweh or universe, you are affirming your and the blessing's placement, situatedness within a relationship of worth, of meaning, of community, of nurturance and care. If you were to follow the Talmud's recommendation of deliberately, consciously doing that 100 times every day, what do you suppose that would do to you? How would that shift you? And I'll pause with that thought for our interlude. Blessing is about place, your place in the interdependent web. Rabbi Toba Switzer writes, saying a blessing is an opportunity for a particular kind of awareness. If I were really to think about all that it has taken to bring a plate of vegetables to my table, all the natural elements of sun and earth and rain, all the human elements of planting and harvesting and transporting and selling, as well as the godly power that underlies the whole process, I would feel a profound connection every time I sat down to eat. I would have a better realization of the myriad ways that my life is intertwined with people all over the planet. Those are words that might also have been written from other faith perspectives. I'm especially reminded of Buddhist writings, Thich Nhat Hanh in particular, who emphasizes the mindfulness of interconnection. The mealtime blessing in Thich Nhat Hanh's centers and retreats begins by noting this food is the gift of the entire universe, the earth, the sky, and much hard work. Taking a moment to say that your meal is the gift of the entire universe, the earth, the sky, and much hard work calls attention, awareness to the vast complex of which we are linked through receiving its gifts. The practice of blessing gifts, such as food, wears different guises in different faith traditions, but the universal need is that such blessing addresses is acknowledgement, gratitude, interconnection, relationship. Blessing affirms and reinforces our sense of place within an interconnected network, a web of mutual care, a web that looks, if only we can attentively see it, like beloved community itself. Through blessing, we help ourselves and one another see that web, realize the beloved community, and become aware of the beloved, and to become aware of the beloved community is also at the same time to make it real. In traditional Catholicism, only a priest could issue an official blessing. Our democratic sentiments rebel against that idea. Still, I can see how in some ways it helped lend solemnity to the occasion. It signified that this blessing stuff was serious business. In the place of that solemnity, those present might more easily find their way to awareness of interconnection and place. Moreover, this human need to know our place, to feel ourselves enmeshed and held in relationships of support that ultimately include all of reality, is not just a need we have as individuals, we also have this need as faith communities, congregations of 10 or of 10,000, to know and feel our faith community's place within a broader network of all that is, a network that includes or emanates or perhaps constitutes God. A medieval Catholic priest pronouncing a blessing upon a newly constructed village church may not have conceived of what he was doing in such terms of affirming and realizing the situatedness within the interconnected web of all existence, but I think that functionally, that was exactly what he was doing, whether he knew it or not. He was helping situate his community within a vaster whole. Turning from the Judeo-Christian tradition, a Buddhist practice is metta, generally translated as loving kindness meditation. It looks a lot like what we would recognize as blessing. Typically, the way metta is done is that we sit in meditation and say some words of loving kindness, first to ourselves and then to others. For instance, possibly, may I be safe. May I have a calm, clear mind and a peaceful, loving heart. May I be physically strong, healthy, and vital. May I experience joy and love, wonder and wisdom in this life just as it is. And then we repeat that, replacing I with the names of a loved one, with the name of groups we identify with, and then with enemies or with difficult people in our life. And finally, all beings. Buddhist literature says metta cultivates our ability to connect with and care in a rare, unconditional way for ourselves and others. Our heart's capacity for patience, acceptance, compassion, and forgiveness becomes boundless. With an inner and an outer environment of safety, our hearts and minds can open fearlessly. The result of this practice is an ever-deepening stillness from which the truth of life can be recognized clearly. It's a bodhisattva practice for blessing the world. Interconnection is the overriding reality, the truth of life, to which through mindfulness our hearts and minds can open fearlessly. We are here to be with each other. And yet our modern condition is rife with isolation, loneliness, alienation, and consequent despair. The supposed liberations of individualism leave us uprooted. We need social identities in order to act effectively. Efficacy comes from knowing who you are, having a firm identity, and that comes from embeddedness in a rich social fabric. Other people, noted Ralph Waldo Emerson, are lenses through which we read our own minds. Without a strong network around us, we never know our own mind. Without rootedness in social soil, there's no belongingness and no sense of who one is, no ground from which one can live daringly. Marcia Pally's book, Commonwealth and Covenant, offers the phrase separability amid situatedness. It's the capacity to be unique, to create, explore, innovate, experiment with new ways of thinking and living, while also being situated, embedded in loving families and enveloping communities. Though we are all unique individuals, we become our singular selves through our relations and responsibilities to the people and environments around us, she writes. But she continues, overemphasis on separability, individualism run amok, results in greed, adversarial and deceitful political discourse and chicanery, resource grabbing, broken relations, and anomie. Blessing is about place. When a person or object or event blesses you, when you bless someone or something, there's a relationship. Blesser, blessee, and blessing situate each other, locate one another, and place us within a context of belonging and value. It is both cause and effect of healthy cultural infrastructure within which we can thrive. Creating situatedness, the blessing of each other by each other, requires, as Marcia Pally recognizes, and as our Unitarian Universalist covenantal faith tradition has long embodied, covenant rather than contract. When two isolated individuals make a deal, they express it as a contract. When we are situated within something, we have a covenant. A contract protects interests. A covenant protects relationships. A covenant, writes David Brooks, exists between people who understand they are part of one another. It involves a vow to serve the relationship that is sealed by love. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people. People in a contract provide one another services, but people in covenant delight in offering gifts. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker said that we have to be a nation that aspires for love, which recognizes that you have worth and dignity and I need you. You are a part of my whole, part of the promise of this country. That's what it means to be situated in a shared collective life. That love, that recognition of worth and dignity and our interdependence locates and grounds us. It makes it possible for each of us to be blesser, blessee, and blessing. Without that, there is no together. Be a blessing to the world. And knowing that you can't do that alone, knowing, as you do now, that blessing the world requires attending to relationship, nurturing the situatedness that makes separability meaningful, then you may realize that other possibility waiting, that possibility whose name is together. Your presence is a blessing to this community. It's a help and a boon to us. And it reminds us of our place in the family of things, our place in community, and our place as community. We come together to bring our blessings, the blessings of ourselves that make this community what it is, the blessings of our resources that sustain this community. We receive blessings from community, and the biggest blessing we receive is that we are a blessing to others. Blessed be indeed. Amen.
Let's rise in body and spirit. Sing hymn 1008 in your teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every brother, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please say with me our unison chalice lighting, extinguishing words, which can be found in the order of service. May we live a life that is not in vain. May our works and deeds have meaning. May the path that our ancestors trod, that we follow and lead for others, lead to true equity and justice.
May you leave this place knowing that you are good and that you are loved. Take your light and your life from this place, use it to bless the world, and stay safe until we are together again. Go in peace.
Soul of truth, eternal goodness, sojourn with us as we part. Fill our minds with high endeavor. Keep us just and pure in love. Strengthen us for daily duty. Guide us by the inward light. Hallowed be each coming morn.